Dear friends, I'm grateful to all our friends, to our partners, to journalists who are attending this event, and I'm thankful to the Ukrainian Crisis Media Center for this opportunity to hold this final meeting to inform you about the Global Ukrainians Forum, which was held last week on July 15th, 16th, and was held in the EMI Business School. We had more than 200 participants who joined our event either personally or via Skype. We have now global Ukrainian network of Ukrainian expats who are aiming to create communicative platform for Ukrainians abroad in the United States, Canada, Japan, from many countries. Outside Ukraine. So the objective of our forum was to summarize our work during the first year of our activities since we were established a year ago in July, and also we wish to analyze the suggested models of synergy between government and non-government partner work, and how we can, for example, cooperate with ministries in promoting Ukraine abroad. Here today we have participants of this forum. And I will give them the floor, but before I would like to add a couple of words about the resolution made in our forum. So the key decisions were as follows. We all agreed that we have the new foreign activity subject, the network of Ukrainian expats called the Global Ukrainians. We are aiming to promote Ukraine. The Global Ukrainians Network had developed the strategy for people's diplomacy implementation. We have offered ready models for cooperation with the Ukrainian communities all around the world via business diplomacy and communicative diplomacy. Also, we are planning to create monitoring groups of Ukrainian foreign affairs ministry abroad. Also, we wish to establish cooperation between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Culture, and Ministry of Economy in their activities abroad and support them in their activities abroad. Also, we plan to establish some practical schemes of internship in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in our diplomatic services abroad. So the key message was as follows. That we have established the global horizontal structure, Global Ukrainians, which wishes to strengthen ability to self-organization. Thus, we are we wish to strengthen the use of such a powerful resource as as well-educated and very capable Ukrainians who left Ukraine during the last 15 years and permanently reside abroad. All the forum participants also agreed that we should do more for integration of efforts between government and non-government organizations. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which visited our forum, assured us that they are ready to provide necessary support in this cooperation. Now we encourage all the stakeholders from public and non-public sector to join us in development of the final version of the people's diplomacy strategy, keeping in mind that full-fledged this strategy should be reviewed and passed in early autumn. So these were key messages, and with this I would like to give the floor to my colleagues, to Nadia, who is an expert in the foreign affairs issues. I think that you have said a very important thing. The Global Ukrainians network itself is the subject of international activity. The next step should be to get recognition from the governmental bodies. This requires not just our wish, but this also involves the old style inertia of the governmental bodies, which used to say, that's good that you have established something, you can do what you wish, but we will continue to work in our old style. We wish to cooperate with the developers of foreign policy, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Verkhovna Rada, or the Ministry of Economy. So in order to cooperate with them, we should speak their language, because obviously they are not prepared to speak our language. Keeping this in mind, we currently work on the document which will allow us to understand each other. Currently, there is the not fully developed strategy of the national security of Ukraine, the strategy of the foreign policy of Ukraine. I think that all those documents still remain underdeveloped, and we can contribute to them. Even if we cannot fully influence these documents, we should monitor implementation and express our vision. And actually, the ministries will need to cooperate with us, because they do not have enough money. They actually have zero money for promotion of Ukraine abroad. And in this context, we have something to offer them, because we are a resource which could be used free of charge for Ukraine. By the way, the network can substitute that big part of work which should be carried out by the state, by public bodies, but which they are unable to carry out, and we can do their part here and to do many useful things. So I believe that we can fruitfully cooperate and demonstrate that Global Ukrainians Network is able to do something which the ministry should do as a part of their foreign strategy work. So after some positive experience in this direction, we would be able to say how useful we are. Thank you, Gennady. I think that this network could not be ignored anymore by the governmental bodies. We have heard from the Ministry of Economy and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs about their readiness to cooperate. We discussed how we can cooperate with participants of the network. After Revolution of Dignity, more than 100 such Ukrainian communities had united in such unexpected countries as Qatar and some other where we never had Ukrainians. Now I would like to give the floor to our general partner, DCH agency. What is the opinion of business community? Good afternoon, dear friends. First of all, I would like to say that DCH is beyond policy. That's why your foreign potential, it's your thing, but we see you as a business potential. Synergy and success in your world is possible at the edge of different areas of social life. When we see any structure created from grassroots, the level of people, this is very precious. When people can come to agreement, I believe that this is a big success of the leaders of the network, that they are able to unite. This shows that it is not just a formal association, but a real association. Now about potential that global Ukrainians bear. We believe that you are managers and ambassadors of the Ukrainian image in the world. We live in the world where nothing could be done artificially by the governmental bodies. When the governmental bodies have a responsibility to create some image of the state, I believe they are not able to do this fully without broad public. I hope that in the future we will have a special business development agency or foreign business development agency in Ukraine. But as of today, we have enough people who are able to carry out this function. Today, we live in the world of the interferences of images. Each person who lives the motherland immediately feels that he or she is influenced by the image and the reputation of the country. Each production region also has this reputation. For DCH Group by Oleksandr Yaroslavsky, the civil society institutions are very natural because you do not rely on the state. Mr. Yaroslavsky had been preparing Kharkiv to the UEFA tournament in 2012, and actually this was recognized by one of the UEFA officials, who said that guy solely had prepared the entire city to the Euro tournament, and we hope for success. Thank you, Anna. And during our forum, some participants mentioned that the DNA of our network is this opportunity to act from the grassroots, to be ambassadors, to be business diplomats, and we decided to involve expats to the work in Ukraine, to modernization of the country, to hold online conferences with those who work in the universities, in foreign corporations, and explain how people work in Harvard and Stanford universities, etc. With this, I would like to give the floor to Olena Bekrenyova, director of Bohdan Hawrylyshyn Foundation, who will describe how we may contribute to the development of human capital in this country. Thank you for this opportunity. I think that for Ukraine it is very important to make itself efficient, and the best way to reach this is to develop human capital. I work with Mr. Bohdan Hawrylyshyn, who had established a foundation 7 years ago and contributed his personal money to this foundation. The objective of our foundation is to implement positive changes in our country via young people. Mr. Hawrylyshyn understands that Ukraine cannot develop beyond the global space, and we have the program The Youth Will Change Ukraine, when we allow young people to study foreign experience and then to come to Ukraine and to apply it here. Also, we try to develop human capital with our expert knowledge. In our forum, we decided to create the Global Academy of Reforms, which is intended to become a huge educational structure which may unite positive experience and knowledge of Ukrainians all around the globe. Young people, they are drivers of changes. This could be young people and other people of my age, for example, who might be united. This academy gathering people or uniting people all around the world might become useful at the global level in, for example, in the reforming of education. I think this might be a very interesting step made by Ukrainians. Once Nelson Mandela mentioned that education is the best weapon to change the world, and we all understand the necessity to work in this direction. And today technologies allows us to create educational models and inform our young people what are the possibilities of the global world, how to analyze the risks, how to analyze the risks of this new reality. In our forum, we had participants from different regions of Ukraine. They asked us a question: when you plan to start your work as a network inside the country? Now I would like to give the floor to one of our global Ukrainians who stayed abroad and came back to Ukraine when Ukraine became endangered. I have Pavlo Kyshkar. Whether you, my question to Pavlo, whether you are ready to work and to analyze those problems which are primarily important today.
So global Ukraine should become successful, and when I returned, I dreamt to be one of the co-founders. And now I help, and I believe this is a great idea. So Ukraine in 2 last years has 3 phenomenal things that were created. So these are a volunteer movement and global Ukraine, and we shouldn't underestimate these movements. And so we do not have a point in Thailand, but we will deal with it because there are 70 friends of mine, and they addressed the ambassador and they forced him to go and to confirm the position, because there were a lot of different information about Ukraine then. So we are working at the different level. DCH helps us, and this is one more evidence that we reached a higher level. And in the parliament, there are healthy forces that are ready to see your tasks as their own tasks. So we are ready to work with it, that they are ready to work with the things that you provide from your platform. And I confirm that there are such forces. They are really powerful in parliament. They have the possibility to unite in crisis moments, and we understand the complexity of work of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We understand that the staff that was formed there for many years, there are many different problems, but you are speaking about open contests and also involvement of young people, and these people are ready to work not only as my example, but this is not a business project for me to be a people's deputy. So it is really expensive, and we should understand that part of our lives should belong to values, to aspirations, and that's why these people, they should get involved. They should be explained that they should provide time and attention to the state. Please join us, form the groups of people around you who are professionals. And people said that there is no network inside, so we should remove this obstacle, and we should create a network here in Ukraine, and we should connect youth who is ready to work. The youth from Bohdan Hawrylyshyn Foundation, they have experience. And at the end of this project, they will write a report and recommendations for Ukraine and in the world. These global wars continue for investment, for resources, and for markets. And we won't go away from this. And maybe not only Hawrylyshyn Fund understand this, but also Ukraine understand this, and we should work in these fronts, and we should win in this. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pavel. So symbolically, you are one of our co-founders, so you believe in this, and we will include you in all the advocacy and recommendations from the network. So you told us about the challenges in the modern world, as Oleksandra Melnik told us, who went from Paris 1 year ago. He explained that globalization is connecting people, places, and ideas, and we have the opportunity to make groups, to create communication bridges among people, ideas, and territories. And respectively, this is our responsibility of people who have some skills, competences, and opportunities. And we believe that we are the intellectual capital, and we are ready to consolidate and to work for the development of synergy. Many people speak about, but not many people can implement it in action. And one thing that differs global Ukrainians from other categories of leaders in political or civil life, this is the ability to put values above our own interests. So people provide their own energy and resources in order to create those things that should be done and no one else can do. Also, we will have one of our active members, the representative of Global Ukrainians Forum in Austria, please, Oleksandra Sayenko. She had the opportunity to see and understand the situation among civil activists that promote Ukrainian interests in the world, and also the opinion of official institutions through cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for a year. And can you tell us about your view after this forum? What can you add about the results of the forum, please? Thank you. Do you hear me? Okay, thank you. On Saturday, We cannot hear what she says. We should have clear goals, and they should be diagnostic. We should first assess the situation, the activities, and after our work, we should go back to the audit and to understand the change in the attitude of the target audience. We should develop clear instruments for this work, for audit, for analysis, and for working with the audience. There should be a pragmatic approach. And the main advantage of Ukrainians abroad is that can't hear it. The quality of sound is not enough. We cannot hear you properly. Maybe I would tell what was said about cultural diplomacy. You advised to have pragmatic approach to analysis of existing resources, to monitoring of perception of situation in Ukraine and different countries, to first study the perception of the target audience, then to create a methodology of effective use and promotion at different directions and for different target audiences. Also, the agents of influence, they are there, and there are instruments that can be shared. Of course, some of them should be developed, and one of the key factors we were speaking about is the development of standards of quality and refresher training and our joint global and local coordination center. Thank you very much for active participation in the work of network and our Skype connections in the framework of our groups. They are more quality than in official presentations. We are sorry for this, and we hope for fruitful cooperation. And together with us we have Bekrenyova, and we will speak about further steps, how to strengthen our cooperation as to monitoring and audit that should be carried out. Maksym, what is the topic we should speak about now? You were the participant who know about these activities. We communicate for more than 2 years now. So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm one of the co-founders of this organization. I agree with Pavlo. Global Ukraine is a phenomenon that exists in phenomenal times. You mentioned war, but on the eve of the third forum, there were tragic events in Nice, and there were events in Turkey, then in Kazakhstan and Armenia. So we live in times that there are many unexpected events. Global Ukraine is a phenomenon because we were able to consolidate all those movements and sources of energy after Maidan in one single river, mountain river, and people see this river and addressing the governmental bodies, I should say that we do not request, we just propose, we want to cooperate. So I would like to say that we shouldn't build walls, we should create bridges among us. First Forum Global Ukraine Forum was last year, and I believe that this is in the we have the goal to show Ukraine as a global startup, and we should do everything that Ukraine should be an agent of global changes. Thank you, Maksym. I would like to add one more. Our goal is that Ukraine was the country for happy people, active people, people who make changes. So if you have questions, please ask. We have some time. So maybe something should be added. Do you have questions? Comments? Good afternoon. Taras Yemenyuk, journalist, Euronews TV channel. I have a question to Violeta. I like your ideas, but the matter is, you told us about business hub that would represent the interests of Ukrainian business. Maybe, but there are trade representative offices. And what is the role of this business hub abroad? Is this an alternative or some competitive instrument to chambers and representative offices in different countries? Thank you for this question. The situation is like this. I have been living in France for 15 years, and I returned to Ukraine after Maidan, and I have clear understanding that there is lack of instruments for promoting Ukrainian brands, both cultural, tourist, or business trends. So if they ask, what do you have except corruption and war, you show what is there. And if you have the opportunity to support these ties and you have ability to travel and be here in Ukraine, it's simpler. But if you cannot follow closely the events and you live in Qatar, Hong Kong, or in South African Republic, so it is very important to have instruments for promotion. So our task, our goal is cooperation with the Ministry of Economy and with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to develop recommendations to provide information about the brands we can be proud of that have experience working at international markets. And if someone lives in Luxembourg or in Washington or in New York, and they have the opportunity to make a presentation in local business club or commercial chamber in Rotary International or any other club, or if there are some events, exhibitions, so they should have instruments. You shouldn't pay a lot for tickets, for housing in order to take part in exhibition in Brussels. For example, there is such an organization, Promote Ukraine, it is called. The coordinator is Marta Barandier. And they, for the last 1.5 years, they work in this direction. So Ukrainian producers can send flyers, catalogs, presentations, presentation materials, and there they will take part in an exhibition with these materials, and they will tell about the brands, about the potential, and will get contacts. So this is the first stage in this direction of promoting Ukrainian export. And at this forum, there were representatives of Kharkiv IT cluster, and Kharkiv supported us from the start. There was a report where we cooperated with organizers, and now there were representatives of Kharkiv IT cluster, and they proposed at better conditions, without money, to help to create this application. There is clear understanding how to make this, and in order to have interface, and from one side there will be Ukrainian brands presented, and from you can contact with active Ukrainians who have different environment, and they work and have the opportunity to lobby in different contexts. It's not difficult. Speaking about resources, where can we find it for our forum? This is a good example. If you do good things, resources can be found. And the key factor of the success of our network is that we create synergy and we create the circle of like-minded people, because we work in those areas where officials are not able to work properly, so we do not want to compete. We do what needs to be done where is something lacking. So, simply speaking, so the announcement that such hub can be created, maybe it will motivate our state agencies and the ministry to do something in this direction. People think about promoting of Ukrainian export. So people who should do this, they should understand that this is their responsibility. So this, we thank our partners that they have this hybrid form of interactive platform where they realize the rule that, and they created this media product, and this is the task, and it is great that we stated it in our petition. Thank you. Andriy Mirgin, Concord Firm. Speaking with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs representatives, they say they do not have budget for this. They are ready only to spend money for this, but they do not have this. So this initiative is not supported by the ministry. What are the alternative ways? Because if some decisions are ready, so there should be some successful cases that can be presented, and then they can calculate the budget, because they do not know what it will cost. We showed that example of cooperation that it decreased the budget, and for the half a year ago we supported literary festival with Chernovitz, and we they went to Lotharingia, Paris, Luxembourg, and Switzerland. So for 1 weekend each place, it was a festival in different countries, French-speaking countries, and they lived in global Ukrainian site, and the synergy helps to find those resources that are lacking. I will add, you're right. Secondly, so we should do things, and so one person from Brussels, from Global Ukraine, they commented on the representation there, but they say, we know about you. There are things that do not cost anything, and there is obligatory participation. I understand that many positions were reduced in the ministry, and they also, there are economic specialists lacking, but there are things that are obligatory that do not need any funds. For example, we were speaking that at each forum, whether representative or not, they should deal with the matters economic or hybrid or military actions in the east of Ukraine, and everywhere a representative of Russian Federation is present. No matter what they say, that they have many people there. So there are not so many platforms of communication that would say that there are 3 people, for example, and they represent Ukraine. So in many cases, people physically, they are not there, and they do not implement the functions that they were given. So they should attend, and we do it successfully. And people come and they say, I am a representative of Global Ukraine. And Of course, we respect the representatives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Of course, they are professionals, but we have people who can lobby the interests of Ukraine and to convince people that they should defend the interests of Ukraine, support the position of Ukraine, not Russian position. And this is very important. So none of the action, so we pay attention to all the actions of the ministry, and we are ready to support, and we believe that it will stimulate them to carry out their duties properly. And as to initiatives and discussions in the forum, a portal should be created to monitor the work of different representative offices abroad. And the idea is that not to criticize, but to stimulate those who do not feel support and to serve its people. So no one says that you should do extra effort, but if representatives, we do not want to mention their names, but the representatives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in one country, European country, if they just refuse to provide information through information media about the event concerning our literary festival, so we cannot understand the situation. These are not funds. This is just wishing or not wishing to do everything in order that each positive signal, that each signal should support Ukraine, and this is a human factor that cannot be controlled fully, but so one provision from the ministry would be enough for all representatives abroad to stress the importance of cooperation and strengthening all the initiatives from different NGOs. So the creation of such a portal for monitoring, and in order that the public could inform about positive things, because there are many embassies, they do maximum. They involve initiatives and support initiatives from the public, and there are some where the situation is more difficult. That's why the portal for transparent support, and for example, they can this is timely, and we can say that we can shift from public councils that are not really successful, and to show that in today's world your reputation is the most valuable capital, your most valuable resource. About global community council. So we have 1.5 minutes left, so we have next event at 12, so be brief, please. The question to Violeta. You told us about the main tasks of your project and what are the main results. So the year passed, what are the main results? So the joint project and portal of information Global Ukraine News, we work in Russian, Ukrainian, and English. We have Chinese also, and Greek language, and there will be French, Poland, Arab, and other languages. 10 or 12 languages will be used till the end of the summer. So added value is the ability to develop synergy, and we work with the teams that took the initiative, and they translate the materials, for example, into Chinese, and they will work at local level further with their site. And if we develop this Ukraine News together as a brand, we will have the reference and we have the impact further. We should think globally and act locally, and to get results through cooperation, through joint action. And we start Business Hub, and we moved in this direction of virtual network for launching the series of communication educational conferences to get involved successful Ukrainians abroad who, telling about the stories of success, can spread the values, and the EU want to strengthen the information position in Ukraine. And we think about how to tell about the lives and European values, not through official representatives of Brussels or Luxembourg, but through success stories of successful Ukrainians around the globe, and that would be more positive, and we would get better results in such a way. Olena Derevianko, my question is about reputation and the image of Ukraine in the world. What foreigners know about Ukraine, and what should they know about Ukraine? What would be better for us? We are a rich country. No one knows that Ukraine is really rich with a high level of culture. So this is not mentioned usually. But in order to look good and be good partner of the European Union and the world. Do you have a question? Is this a comment? What is it? We don't have time. We have 2 minutes. Does Global Ukraine plan a large-scale international event to present Ukrainian culture in the world? I have experience of 2-year cooperation with Italy. Yes, we plan, but unfortunately we end our press conference. Thank you very much for coming. So we have plans and recommendation part. It is present on our site of Global Ukraine. Thank you all.